Last time on Firebolt PT. Bolt and Hana found a blade in the attic, stuck in the ground. With the help of the Avaphone, Bolt was able to get the sword out for Hana, only to reveal to both of them that she was a light elemental. With everything seemingly done, Bolt was about ready to start his journey. That is, if it weren't for...
So, are we all ready?
Of course, Master. Got everything, including this nifty thing.
Oh, you found a light blade. Very impressive. As for me, I have everything I need. And you?
I've got everything I need too, though I'm still curious about those notes you gave me earlier.
I promise you, they were safely returned to their owner.
That's good to hear. It'd be bad if those notes caught something horrible to happen. Why do I hear screaming?
Oh, hey, Bolt, my fellow maid fucker. Think I could stay here for a few hours?
What are you doing here?
I just came here to visit you, and only visit you.
Weren't you the man who was asleep when I took the notes?
Excuse me, what?
Oh, so you're the ass clown who made me lose my payment.
Well, my apologies, but I needed those notes, and when I returned them, the person who made them didn't seem bothered.
That's good to know and all, but that still doesn't explain why Simblade Master broke in panicking.
Well, I'd hate to put an end to this chaos, but while I was flying, I saw police cars coming in this direction.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I was just doing my normal activities of sleeping, playing Shadow Dragon, DMing Tibby about all the crimes she committed, like not liking Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid's opening.
Who's Tippy?
None of your concern.
The next thing you know, the police are suddenly at my door, so I did what any reasonable person would do in a Yu-Gi-Oh match. Jump out the window and run to your place.
Believable story, though the gun in your pocket does seem a bit suspicious.
I found it lying on the side of the road.
Yeah, everyone has a cover-up story. Now give me a good reason I should let you stay here.
I can supply you with maid pictures.
911...
Okay, I have a better proposition. What if we covered a video together?
Now that I think about it, Bolt needs experience working with other people, so that seems like a decent deal.
I second that, even if he does seem a bit untrustworthy.
Oh, you're just suspicious because I can supply Bull with much higher quality maids than you.
Are you asking to be turned in?
Okay, I think we get the point. I'd be willing to co-op with Yuki, but we need to get a few things done first. First, we need to change avatars. You use Robin, right?
Yeah, I used to use him back when I was a dumb teenager.
Don't worry. I can fix that and turn you back into the dumb teenager we all know you still are.
Excuse me?
Avaphone voice command. Match avatars. Subject Keyblade Master.
I'm pretty sure what you just did was illegal somewhere!
If it was, it certainly ain't here. Now the last thing we need to do is find the material. Hey Key, did you happen to find anything on your way here?
Well, I was saving this for later, but since I'm on the run, wanna cover this countdown about Lily Orchard with me?
You know what? Screw it. I'd be down. Wait, did you say Lily Orchard? Bolt here, and welcome to Bribery, the co-op.
Hello, I am Keyblade. I'm currently bribing Bolt so I can stay in his house and not be arrested for a crime I didn't commit.
Though the gun is still really bugging me. Double team for the win!
Lucky dodge. Now for the subject at hand, meet Star Giant, a cartoon reviewer who's best known for talking about Lily Orchard a lot. They made a countdown on the best, worst, and blandest videos of Lily Orchard, and to say we had a few problems would be an understatement.
This video is also a co-op with Dashi the YTP. Guess what kind of content she makes? Who they didn't even link in the description. Oops. I think that's all the context we need, so without further ado, let's burn through this.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I know that this was a rough year, but let's save that for 2021 and just relax for once this Christmas. I'm gonna open my presents now. Yay! I wonder what I got.
Man, I love it when people go over their lines incredibly quickly. Totally doesn't make the acting turn into stale toast. Now come, Bolt, let's frolic around in the fields of give me my fucking paycheck.
I want to do a commentary, but I have no material. I know, I'll just search online.
We do not speak of that!
Oh, I forgot you were a tour chick once.
Oh great, something is alive in one of my presents. This better not be like that one awful joke from the movie National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where they had a cat inside a present and in the movie ended up dying and we get to see its dead remains.
How oddly specific of a reference there.
Also, you droning on that specific reference utterly murders the pace of your intro skit. Like, Jesus Christ, if you're gonna go through your intro joke fast, commit to it! How do you make an intro skit feel both rushed and monotonous at the same time like this?
You thought there was a dead cat inside of this present, but it was I, Dashy the YTP.
What the fuck is the cat from Azabangadayo doing here? Who put you in that box? Was it the US government? Was it Senator Armstrong? Was it Amolga? You're getting clipped, you little bitch.
What's an Azumangadayo, and why does it sound like a regional variant of Peekaboo?
None of your concern, you double-teaming nuisance.
Oh shit, it is a cat! Okay, kitty, whatever you do not bite the Christmas tree wires. It's so that we don't have people calling you fried pussy.
Rebecca, it's me, Anna.
Oh, right. Now I recognize you.
But I don't, so who the fuck are you and how did Emolga put you in the box?
I don't know. It's about as explained as everything else she—
Oh, are you getting a little ahead of yourself, Boltsy?
Oh right, let's save that for later.
And I have a cat plushie for you.
You hid in a box?
A Christmas present, thank you very much. I was waiting in here all night just for you.
With no air holes?
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Yep, you're a silly girl, Anna.
Oh god, I can breathe.
Yeah, Anna, you're so silly for nearly suffocating yourself to death. I'm a very caring individual.
But in all seriousness, I'd hate to be that guy, but wow is the acting on both of your sides utter garbage. Stargiant doesn't even sound fazed by anything and barely emotes, and Dashy overacts everything she says to an obnoxious degree. I'd also like to point out that whoever edited the audio didn't know how to space Dashy's lines, since her lines always feel like they come too soon, rather it be after her own lines or after Stargiant's. I know this seems nitpicky, but trust me, when you notice it, it gets really annoying when combined with her overacting.
Oh god, we have 3 points so far and we're not even a minute in. Dear Lord, pray for us.
So, what did you get me for Christmas?
For Christmas? Nothing.
What? Why?
I didn't know you were gonna be here. Plus, you're technically not family.
Yeah. But you're not with your family right now. You're talking to me and having fun.
That is true. Aw, thanks for that.
But I still want a gift.
You mean like the gift of your box staying in one place instead of moving around anytime you two say anything? Cause seriously, this stuff is extremely distracting, and unlike the audio issue Bolt pointed out earlier, this kind of stuff is central stage throughout all of this video, which I'm surprised neither you, your partner, or your 3 editors caught this issue.
Wait, hold up, did you say 3 editors?
Oh, did I forget I mentioned that? This video has 3 editors on board, and yet the editing is still severely flawed.
Also, before anyone says that the criticism towards the editors doesn't apply to Stargiant, it still does, since she still approved of this and allowed this to be uploaded on her channel.
What do you want for Christmas?
Oh, I know. How about a review collaboration with you?
Okay then. Oddly specific for Christmas, but what the hell? What do you want, Honor? It could be on anything.
A Lily Orchard is garbage and here's why video. Woohoo!
Line said before disaster.
Implying this wasn't already a train wreck with the rubbish they call an intro skit.
Okay, that's fair, but considering the previous videos Stargiant made on Lily, the best we can do is pray.
If we had hoped that Starlight covered Lily Orchard properly, then we wouldn't even be covering this.
I should have known what I was getting into.
No. I am done with that cunt. I made 3 videos on her. Remember, rule of 3? Besides, people say that I complain about her too much, and that my original videos are too long, and that my audio was shit, or that my points are off.
Well, if you don't do a video on Lily Orchard, I guess we could talk about Mr. Kimura from Azumangadayo.
On second thought, another Lily video it is.
Woohoo!
Not gonna lie, I would've preferred watching a video talking about the guy who coined the term waifu and revolutionized the anime community. Also, this is rich coming from me of all people, but what is up with the very specific references here? Since unless someone were to watch the source material you two were referencing, they would be completely lost on what you guys are joking about, and the joke itself is very weak considering it requires knowledge of the source material for it to even be funny.
I still don't know what Azumangadayo is.
On top of that, you still failed to explain why you actually decided to make another video on Lily, after showing how you got legit criticism for it. Instead, you opt for a crappy punchline, which, as Keith said, doesn't even work as a joke. So to the people who haven't even seen the show, it's just confusing. But to the people who have, they'll just be wondering what that has to do with the video and why you decided to make it.
But I don't want to have to do another over an hour long garbage video on her.
Why don't we do it like one of her reviews?
Huh?
Just a short video, under a half hour long, maybe exactly 25 minutes. Top 10 best, blandest, and worst of Lily Orchard.
Remember this links for later, because considering how this is a triple top 10, and how the rest of the video feels, this time limit is seriously going to bite her in the ass.
You know, that's not a bad idea, Anna.
Some rules first.
Yes?
No filler entries. They have to be your actual opinions. No top number list from Lily on this list. No random joke videos like the ponies with hats. No in-a-minute videos unless they are roundups. Make sure they're actual reviews from Lily, like say the glass of water or first impressions videos, because those go in depth with her opinion. You can also include videos from her from other channels, as long as she appears in the majority of them, or have some sort of speaking role, like her appearance on Josh Scorcher's collab, anything of the sorts.
Also, keep the rule of Lily having a speaking role or major part of the video in mind, cause this is also going to be important for the inevitable ass biting this rule will also give them.
Lord Satan, how many times are they going to bite themselves in the ass?
Oh boy, you have no idea, Rat.
My baby!
Holy shit, that was awesome!
I think, in all fairness, that I start this list with the first two videos that I ever saw from Lily. They were what made me subscribe to her channel, they were interesting to listen to, and they had very good points on writing tips and why getting angry at Flash Sentry was pointless.
Wait, that's it? Are you serious? That sure isn't your criteria. Not insult to injury, you don't even explain what the criticisms she gave are, or why they were legit.
What makes this worse is the fact that you put 2 videos in this entry and not even explain why that's the case. And if you're wondering, it's gonna get much worse from here.
Anything World of Warcraft doesn't interest me, except the joke of me saying that Louie is the child of the guy from South Park obsessed with the game and if he fucked the feminists from Kids Next Door. I don't care much about Big Bang Theory, so Sheldon doesn't interest me. And as for Louie's censorship, concerned that she deletes comments that don't agree with her opinion, well, let's just say for Lily, you don't know what censorship means.
So the reason that these videos are bland is because you aren't interested in the material Lily is talking about. That sounds incredibly petty and dumb.
And on top of that, when it comes to the censorship thing, I don't think saying she doesn't understand what censorship is would be the right thing to say in this instance.
You can call her a hypocrite, and you'd have every right to call her that.
But given how you don't elaborate, we don't know what she means by that. And again, how is this bland, since here, you just say something you find bad about the video, instead of something that makes it boring or unmemorable.
TLDR, Star Giant doesn't understand elaboration.
Land in funky mode.
And that attitude can fuck off and die in a ditch along with the malignant human cancer that defend it.
Josh Scorcher falling out with Louie has been talked about to death. I may be a left-leaning liberal, kind of like what Louie Orchard is, but I still side with Josh in this situation. And I really loved meeting him at BronyCon all 3 times that I did. And I too also miss Louie and Josh's friendship, but Louie needs to know that telling people to assault people they don't like is a felony. Oh, and as for Louie, if you're gonna review Newbie Dash, fucking review Newbie Dash.
Oh, this should be an interesting list if this video is number 10.
And this is the part where the lack of elaboration really starts to become a giant problem, considering this situation right here is tied into a huge drama that happened around 4 years ago. Which, for anyone who hasn't heard about this video, it's going to leave them incredibly lost on what's even going on in Guard Break. And your reasons for why it's on here aren't going to do much for telling us why this video is bad. Especially when you bring up stuff like your political leaning, as if it somehow ties into this video, or stuff that hurts your credibility, like you bringing up your positive experiences with Josh, since that could turn this entry into, this video bad because Lily was mean to my senpai.
I also feel I should mention that we're not saying Lily was right in this situation. Hell no! We're just bringing up how the way you present this segment could easily come across as what Key just said to people not familiar with the drama. Also, I just noticed this, but where's Dashy? They weren't really in any of the number 10. Did they have nothing to say here? Or did that constantly moving box they were in carry them into the nether realm?
It's a show about gay princesses saying the fuck word.
It's an actual good review on a good show on the LGBT community in hell.
Wait, what the heck? That went by so fast I barely had time to process that!
It's sad what the fucking meme of blink it you'll miss it becomes an actual thing.
Focus more on the world, the bronies cried out for years. Move away from the main 6 click. The Legend of...
Okay, now you're just fucking with us.
And this isn't even the last time this happens.
Oh boy, this is going to be a long video.
Also, good job on breaking your no filler entry rule, considering you say nothing about this. So for the sake of not being as repetitive as a poorly handled boss rush, we're going to be skipping these kind of entries unless there's something worse than just no elaboration.
The Legend of Korra is cliche after cliche after cliche. Good night.
To be as honest as possible, I think this video has some well-constructed arguments, even as a guy who loves Legend of Korra. And sure, I obviously don't agree with everything here from this video, but that's not why I think this is one of Lily's worst videos ever. No, it's the fact that it's long and boring. It's just political pointless bullshit that amounts to literally nothing worthwhile. Why is this Lily's most viewed video again with over 5.5 million views?
Okay, you're actually giving me something of substance to cover here. First off, why isn't this on the bland list? Especially as your biggest criticism with this video is that it's bland and long. Second, political pointless bullshit? As someone who's actually seen Lily's video on Korra, a lot of the political stuff she was talking about was in reference to the antagonist's political ideologies, which are important to the plot. You can argue if what she said is valid or not, but it wasn't pointless to bring them up. And third, how is this higher than Guard Break? Legit, a video that you say is at worst long and boring is worse than a video that not only barely reviews what it's talking about by your own admission, not only tries to slander another content creator, but gives bully victims dangerous advice. Like, I get people have their own opinions on what they think are worse, but given what you've said before and after this ordering just doesn't make sense.
9 Star Child constellations out of 10.
Wait, a video from Lily where she just analyzes the show and characters and doesn't figure about real people?
Oh god, the box has the power of invisibility. What kind of black magic did Dashi use to bring that thing into existence?
Probably the same kind of magic that allows the Avaphone to turn Bolt into a delicate little baby.
Say one more thing, Emolga, and I'm going to make sure you can't dodge any of my attacks.
My baby!
Ow, my childhood hit me with a stick.
Lily talking about Family Guy is kind of cool. Vaguely shit-talking Mr. Enter for having different Family Guy tastes, believes that he defends racists and pedophiles without proof, and Lily missing the point on technocracy.
Oh, Lily having Family Guy opinions is cool. Shit-talking Mr. Enter is cringe. Okay, first off, learn what grammar is. And secondly, ow! The tone whiplash! Watch where you're aiming that thing, it can hurt like hell!
As well as her shit-talking John simply because John collaborated with Josh Scorcher, and even Lily comparing John to Starlight Glimmer, all things that make me say learn the critique.
No, that's wrong.
Okay, post point. Wow, you took Lily out of context. Lily never called Enter racist. At most, she said that people showing her Enter's reviews were like showing her JonTron talking about immigration. That statement does not imply racism. It implies that she gets the same general amount of enjoyment from both. In fact, if you actually showed the context, you could have actually shown what she said about Enter.
Hell, most of them are too lazy to even do that, and instead just link me to one of the mysterious Mr. Enter's cacophonous rants, which is like saying, hey, here's a nuanced and level-headed take on immigration from JonTron. You mean a man who likes to strip all the humanity out of a real-life situation and replace it with statistics, or who once claimed that being accused of rape is worse than being raped, or who thinks mean-spirited is enough to claim an episode is terrible, thinks Family Guy is garbage? Well, that's nice, I guess, but I'd like to hear from someone with some actual brain cells and a sliver of intuition.
Also, when it comes to specifically Enter, she didn't just disagree with Enter because, different opinions. She didn't like how he argued his opinion, specifically him claiming mean-spirited episodes are automatically bad. You can argue if Lily is correct or not in any of these, but as per usual with this video, you'd rather poorly summarize the video and purposely not give any critique. Speaking of which...
Is this a critique?
Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to properly critique Lily Orchard? Well, I want her to properly critique Mr. Enter. Looks like we both lose on this one.
Bolt, I think we got a problem. The box just ate Star Giant.
Oh god, what if we're next? Prepare the defense mechanisms, Key!
I'll get the guns and prepare Moga as a sacrifice.
Wait, what?
But in all seriousness, I have two things to mention. One, and this is kind of a nitpick, but you're referring to mysterious Mr. Enter as both John and Enter is kind of confusing, especially to those that don't know that John is Enter's real name. So you might want to at least have text clarifying that they're one and the same. And two, just because Lily did a bad thing, doesn't mean you get the right to do the same thing, which is doubly bad here, since this also leads you to not explain how our critiques are bad.
My baby!
Don't try to do my job, DHX. You're not very good at it. You can barely do the job you have now.
Aw, is Cunty Orchard having a fit over what was actually an amazing episode and yet they call it her bullshit?
Okay, how is this the second countdown I've covered where the creator used their own subjectivity as a basis as to why someone's arguments are wrong? The only difference is that my previous target had only 22 subs, and you have over 3,000 times the size. Also, good job on name-calling Lily here. Really professional.
Despite that point having no relations to you and it actually meaning the term half full, half empty, but yet you only see shit because you're bad at being a critic. Here's the cutest cat ever. It's the cutest cat ever because it's my kitty. Doom Kitty. I'm throwing in a train in it as well because I unironically love trains.
Oh, here's some more cute stuff. Yeah, this is adorable. Look at this kitty. Look at this pretty little kitty. What we're getting at is, Lily, maybe you're focusing on the wrong things. Excuse me while I go pet this cat. Come here, Smokey.
Star Giant. Dashi. What is this? You spent 8 entries so far, going through this as fast as possible, and then now, fucking now, you decide to pointlessly pad this video out with crap that doesn't even matter. God, is it really that hard to pace crap properly?
Okay. While Bolt is reenacting the pillow screaming scene from Lilo and Stitch, I will entertain you all by reading off 100 reasons why Lyn is the best lord in the Fire Emblem series.
Please! We all know Roy is objectively the best lord in Fire Emblem. He was about as strong as her.
But here's the thing, Amolka. Lindis actually has a personality and isn't just known for being in Smash Brothers.
Isn't Lyn also an assist trophy in Smash? And that's how a lot of gamers met her?
Key, can you please stop feeding the troll and continue covering this with me?
I fucking told you all. I fucking told you all. BronyCon's a bed of creeps. I fucking told you all.
Don't tell me I have to watch these videos again to make sure you aren't removing context.
Yep, have fun, Bolt.
God damn it.
Many minutes later.
This better not be for nothing.
I hope you hate bronies and think that they're all fucking pedophiles, because otherwise these 2 videos won't be that good. Wait a minute, Dashi, you represent most of my fan base. Do you agree with these things?
No, I love bronies. They're not all terrible people. In fact, I'm a brony myself.
Well then, you're fucked.
So you're using your partner as a representative of your entire fanbase to dispel Lily's belief that all bronies are pedophiles. As absurd as Lily's belief is, this isn't the right way to go about arguing this, considering Dashi is only one person in a fanbase that has thousands of people, and when compared to your sub count only has a fraction of subs. Not to mention how their opinions might not even match up with the opinions of your fanbase, let alone the brony fanbase. Basically meaning you're using a minority of a minority of a minority, with the biggest one being bronies, then brony analysis, and then at the smallest is your fan base. Also, personal anecdotes don't mean much when speaking on behalf of an entire community or fan base, since everyone has different experiences which range from person to person, varying from positive to negative. Honestly, it would have been better if you got multiple viewpoints, since that way you would have been covering a wider range of the community or fan base.
There's also the fact that this is the first thing Dashi has done of substance in this entire video. And even then, she's pretty much only affirming what you said right before. She probably could have added more to the conversation on why these videos are abhorrent, or Lily's claims being horrible, but after this, she says nothing for the rest of the segment.
In theory, this video is about Louis saying that we should kill pedophiles and get their helpers shamed upon, or essentially be Doofenshmirtz.
Hey, sweetheart, how'd you like to take her out in a real bike? She's 16!
And that I 100% agree with. Sure, but what the video actually says is that these random people that Country Orchard has a vendetta against are terrible people that support predators like Josh Gorger, Silver Quill, and Dr. Wolf. Or how they have done nothing to help, even though that Josh has contacted the FBI and even the Chicago Attorney General on Toon Critic in a video that Louis didn't even bother to watch from Josh.
Okay, Star Giant. What is this? You give us a large wall of text here to make points that could have been recorded either by you or your partner, but you just leave it here. If this was something you wanted to say but couldn't because the video was already edited, I get it, but there's no implication that this was the case. So this just comes across as lazy. But then there's what's actually in the text itself. First of all, very professional of you to name call Lily like that again. Like, I get it. You don't like Lily. None of us here do. But resorting to childish name-calling doesn't make you look any better. Second, hello, I'm a hypothetical new person. Who is this Molestia guy? Like, as someone who knows the context, I know what these are, the Molestia guy being a jackass who made a joke about a rapey Celestia fic in front of her voice actress. But if I were completely blind, I'd have no idea what they're even talking about. Especially since you've barely even touched the second video at all in the segment. Third, and this is relatively minor, but you probably shouldn't say that 99% of bronies aren't pedophiles in such a statistical way. Since you've shown no sources for your claim, and showing the exact number like that is just screaming for others to find holes and counterexamples to what you say. But to be fair, this probably could just be a case of poor wording. What isn't a case of poor wording are your next 2 points, since what you say about Josh surpassing Lily on YouTube has nothing to do with this segment, and the only connection it has is that Josh was being slandered and blame and groom. But that's it, and bringing up the social blade shit just feels like you're trying to find any reason to get onto Lily. And then there's that last part, which just isn't true? Well, yes. Two didn't go to jail because of the call being leaked. Lily's video wasn't what leaked it. It was by someone who was in the Skype chat, which led to Toon deleting all of his social media. All of this was mentioned in the Josh Scorcher video you didn't link because linking sources is too hard. Yes, Lily's video is cruel and did a lot of unneeded damage. And yes, I disagree heavily with Lily saying that the call should have been leaked. But her video's existence isn't the reason Toon isn't arrested. So yeah, I wasted hours on my life on both this and rewatching the videos you're talking about to clarify crap. I hope you're happy, Key.
I am very happy, mostly because I didn't have to do the heavy work.
You owe me money for this.
My baby!
I should really start doing a Politics 101 series.
Lily Orchard is the Queen Chrysalis of the brony fandom, hating Starlight Glimmer more than anyone else and sticking to her same opinion from years ago and never changing for the better. Do you know what's worse than a bad critic spewing bullshit? A bad critic repeating spewing bullshit. The only reason these three are in the blandest and not the worst is because these don't go that far in depth with my problems with Lily Orchard.
So these videos are bland because she's repeating her opinion about not liking Starlight Glimmer. I get it's repetitive to hear someone talk about their distaste for a character multiple times, but isn't it kind of petty to put 3 videos on one spot solely because of their dislike towards a character? Since that seems to be the only complaint that you have with this entry, and is quite frankly incredibly flimsy and could have been replaced with anything else.
Like, the number 9 worst for her problem was that it was too long and boring?
Well, I was going to say put in an intermission screen so I can at least get some pizza, but that works too.
Now let's talk about how your opinions suck.
Oh boy, does this bring me back. This was the first ever Lily Orchard video that I ever disliked. I already talked about this episode recently in my MLP retrospective, so I'll do this super quick. Lily fails to understand that the point of an episode is for a character to learn something. If Quibblepants knew how to properly critique at the beginning of the episode, then this episode wouldn't exist. What do you mean my opinion sucks?
Wait, that's it? First of all, you didn't really need to explain Lily's complaint to begin with. Anyone who hasn't seen the original episode or video wouldn't really understand what you're talking about. You offer the counterpoint without showing the audience the actual point in question. Also, is this seriously the first video after Blame and Groom? A video where Lily lied about certain people to put them in a worse light? A video that slandered someone over a bad critique? One of these things is not like the others, one of these things just doesn't belong!
Not to mention, I feel like you have a very tunnel vision way of seeing this show. Considering while a character does learn something in each episode, that's not the sole reason for why each episode exists, since they could also be made to either teach the kids at home a lesson, or just for general entertainment. Which is especially true in the later seasons, considering the 100th episode was a giant thank you letter to the brony fandom, which is composed of people not within the age demographic this show is aimed towards. So it's likely possible that Lily sees this show in a different way than you do. Which, speaking of Lily, let's talk about her complaints with the episode, considering the hack job you did with explaining it. Since upon viewing Basebreaker, which by the way, screw you Star Giant for making me have to watch a Lily Orchard video.
Now you know my pain, Key.
Anyways, the issue that Lily had towards the episode was the fact that most of the episode was comprised of Rainbow Dash and Quibble arguing like children over a book series, only for Quibble to then drop an interesting piece of criticism towards the book series changing genres at the end of the episode, thus wasting any interesting dynamic these two would have had if Audible stated this at the beginning of the episode. Complaints which, as much as I'm gonna hate agreeing with Lily on something, are legitimate complaints that someone could have with the episode.
Heck, It's not even like you'd have to abandon giving a message to tell a story by starting the episode with that criticism, since there are many different lessons they could have gone with, rather it be giving a lesson on how different perspectives isn't a bad thing, or giving the lesson that while critics may not like things you like, it doesn't mean your thoughts are any less valid. There are many places you could have gone with, and while you can argue how Lily argued it, or how the original episode's message is just fine the way it is, the way you tried to argue it with your counterpoint was definitely not a good way to do it.
You just got burned!
I know that I'm nowhere near the first person to beat this drum, but this drum needs to be beaten again. The best thing that Lily has ever done was being Josh Scorcher's editor. That was where her real talent shined, and that was also where she was most enjoyable. Lily was really the only reason why I became Mr. Enter's editor in the first place. I saw this fun video, and it made me want to get into editing. So yeah, this video here is important to me.
Wow! Nice to see that video is number 5. A video where Lily says literally nothing. What was that one thing in your criteria about only using videos where Lily has a major role?
Make sure they're actual reviews from Lily, like say the glass of water or first impressions videos, because those go in depth with her opinion. You can also include videos from her from other channels, as long as she appears in the majority of them, or have some sort of speaking role, like her appearance on Josh Scorcher's collab, anything of the sorts.
Yeah, good job breaking your criteria again. And yes, I know Lily edited the video and has small visual cameos, but again, speaking role. This would be like if someone put my Sonic CD boss rant video on a best Keyblade Master list.
To be fair, me putting in fucking bubbles is worthy of an Oscar.
Don't worry, I'll be sure to credit you when my video gets nominated for the best Firebolt PT video list.
Aw, Starlight got away with it and learned nothing.
Hey, it's a MLP parody on Jello Apocalypse. That's a cool idea, and... Wait, why is this video out suspiciously a week after Josh's video on the same subject? Oh, this video was only made out of spite. Luna Corva even told me this in my first Louis critique video from 2 years ago. Why can't you, cunty, get over Josh when he himself has gone over you? It's just...
It's funny you get onto Lily's case for being spiteful against Josh, even when Josh has moved on from this situation, when you are literally acting the exact same as Lily in terms of spite. Considering this is the 3rd or 4th time you've called Lily a cunt and acted like a douchebag towards her.
But Key, hypocrisy doesn't make you wrong.
I know that, but it does hurt your credibility. Especially when they keep doing this throughout the video while talking about how Lily keeps being spiteful.
Aw man, I wanted to shoot him.
Do it at his funeral.
I would, but knowing him, he's probably finding a way out of hell as we speak.
It's fine. The actual video is fine. Some points I agree on, some I don't. All I have to say is, if more views is what it takes to be better, Louis, then my thoughts on MLP are better because I have more views than you, Louis. My only real problem with Louis' video here is shitting on Starlight Glimmer too much. And speaking of Starlight Glimmer...
Okay, I get how knowing the reason why a video was made would put a sour taste in your mouth, but considering how you say most of the video is fine, why not have it lower on the list? After all, you can still talk about the behind the scenes there. Was it because you wanted a smooth number transition?
Yeah, probably.
Holy crap, that was fast!
Heh, let's just say being a demon spawn has its advantages, and I already set up 6 double teams, so now none of you can hit me until this video is over.
Hey, Emolga!
Heh, if you want to shoot me again, better complete the video!
Clever son of a bitch.
Another day, another pack of idiots playing devil's advocate for worst pony.
Wow, not even in the actual segment, this number transition is awful. For the most part, the number transitions have done an okay job showing which video it is, but here, you show 2 videos, but only one of them have a clear title. The other one, Punitive Damages, has no name shown, which wouldn't be a problem if you put the videos in the description, but you don't. So yeah, thanks for making this video harder to find for your audience. So for your convenience, we're going to watch that so we can clarify her point.
Many minutes later.
I've already gone in-depth with my thoughts on Starlight Glimmer in all 3 of my Louis videos, as well as my recent MLP retrospective and several other videos, so I'll do my best to not try to repeat myself here. Suffice to say that I relate to Starlight Glimmer, and I think that she is the best character ever, while Louis finds her the worst character ever created in animated fiction. But like Shadow Streak, Lily is nice to other people that love Starlight and—
No, it was a shit show, obviously.
Hey, that was my line!
I know, but I couldn't resist. It's so much fun to say.
Well, you got me there.
Hey Key, Who's Shadow Streak? Never heard of them before, and Star Giant doesn't explain jack.
As someone who's actually subscribed to Shadow Streak, they're a licensed game reviewer, which is even more confusing since not once has this guy ever talked about MLP on his channel, just making me think if you know the guy personally and put in an inside joke that no one is gonna get. Also, Dashi, welcome back! How is Vibing in the Void going?
It seems she also learned the basics of chemistry while in there. Not much, but a good start.
Louis instead believes that toxic people in real life are Starlight Glimmer. Actually, let's take it further and bring up the fact that she says that people that love Starlight Glimmer are pedophiles. To avoid yourself like Anthony Aguilar, Louis, go after actual pedophiles. People that love Starlight Glimmer are not predators. This is like me saying that Sunset Shimmer lovers are predators. When it came to Draco, deal with pedophilia first, then whatever Starlight stuff on the side. Not at the fucking beginning, you cunt. Should I even bring up the fact that Louis Orchard once wrote Stockholm, which is a pedophilia fanfiction on Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo?
Citation seriously needed for this entry in particular, cause you are saying some serious shit, and looking at the videos, Lily's issues with Starlight Glimmer seem to be less, oh, she represents toxic people and the people who like her are pedophiles, but instead that Starlight Glimmer is an underdeveloped character with an incredibly weak redemption arc, whose actions are being defended by the Brony analysis community. Heck, the second video was pretty much Lily arguing against Josh and Luna's arguments regarding Starlight.
And strawmanning them again by equating her strawman of what Josh did during the Toon Creek drama with Starlight, but details.
So basically, the problem with these two videos is stuff that's not even in those videos. Also, neither of them brought up Draco, leaving me more confused as to why you brought up this whole situation in the first place. And finally, why did you feel the need to bring up Stockholm? Since while yes, its existence is abhorrent, at the same time, it has nothing to do with the situation at hand regarding Starlight and her fans being pedophiles. Honestly, I get you don't like Lily, no one here likes her, but on the other hand, poisoning the well doesn't make you look better.
I'm gonna destroy my career one of these days.
I don't really have much to say why I love this one other than I love Louis talking about Pokemon. I was originally gonna put her top 20 best Pokemon list on here since that's her best list, but it was a list and I already said those don't count.
Didn't stop you from breaking criteria multiple times throughout this list, but details.
My baby!
Pay the fuck attention.
Oh boy, 4 videos this time.
And this isn't even the worst of it, Key.
Yeah!
That mentality could die in a ditch. Every criticism on me is wrong, and you need to hate people that I hate, and stop attacking me for hating a show that a lot of people love, and that right is wrong. At least that's the best way I can sum up what this one was. You're all just so bleh.
At least I'll give you to this. You didn't make a shit show out of it, you just half-assed it.
It doesn't help that 4 of these videos are vastly different. The one on Voice of Reason is more of a direct response. The Sarah V video had Lily semi-correctly pointing out the flaws in Sarah's critique of her before going on to how Steven Universe fans are just performative activists or some crap like that. And the ContraPoints video is completely different since Contra never even made a response to Lily, and the video was more of a slander piece pulling out every stupid point idiots tried to use to get her cancelled a few years back. Considering how different a lot of these are, why are they all tied?
My baby!
I always wondered what would happen if Honeycrisp Tales became a show.
I think that Lily should just stick to talking positively about animation, because that tends to make her better reviews.
Oh boy, this is fun. First of all, just because Lily is positive about something doesn't mean she'll be better at it. Example, in the childhood animation video you mentioned later, she was positive towards Avatar: The Last Airbender, where she barely explained why she liked the show, and then said Zuko wasn't a redemption arc and talked about how abuse victims shouldn't need to change. I'd go more in depth with it, but Kirby Star Warrior already covered that video well, so I'll just leave a link to that in the description. But that's not my main problem. My main problem is how you say Lily should just stick to positive reviews, since if Lily has negative thoughts on a piece of media, she should be able to speak her mind on it. While too much negativity can lead to a lot of bad outcomes, i.e. Mr. Enter after he scrapped Admiral animations, too much positivity isn't much better. It can lead to people becoming less critical and more damaging, feeling forced to make positive content. I get preferring when Lily is positive towards something, but saying she should just stick to positive content is not only bad advice, but kind of toxic as well.
Her Hilda review is just so fun and cute, and I like the comparison that she makes to Calvin and Hobbes. I was originally going to put her Owl House reviews at this spot because they were actually pretty good in terms of the content, but those had her shit-talking 2010s animation throughout all of it, as well as Rebecca Sugar. Hilda at least avoids those things there.
Normally I would get onto your case for not explaining why you liked Lily's comparison between Hilda and Calvin and Hobbes, but we've been getting onto your case for not explaining a lot, so I'm not even going to bother. But what I will get onto your case for is your reasoning for why you didn't put Lily's Owl House reviews here, since it's really petty. Given because Lily badmouthed Modern Animation and Rebecca Sugar, that somehow means they're no longer on the list. Which makes no sense, considering Lily bringing those things up could have made sense in the context of those reviews. Which in her first impressions video on Owl House, she brings up 2010's animation as a point of comparison, on how Owl House does a good job of using metaphors for real life problems, which Steven Universe and Star Versus, in Lily's eyes, failed to do.
These heteros making me upset around.
I was apparently wrong on Lily being alone considering that she's engaged to Michaela. That's nice, and while I'm fine with Lily doing that, I don't care much about her personal life too much. But what Lily says on LGBT does bother me. Sure, I'm glad that she's LGBT supportive, but it's too much. She's the type of person that the LGBT community gets stereotyped as. And I agree with my fanbase on how Lily was too aggressive with the Steven Universe gay marriage.
By the power vested in me by the state of Delmarva, I now pronounce you Garnet.
Just say wife. It's not hard.
Yikes.
Well, since you're the only person here who's LGBT, have fun, Bolt.
Key, wait! Well, guess I'm stuck here since this is bad. First, I kinda get what you mean with Lily often saying any LGBT representation isn't good enough. But God, could you have not said it in a worse way? Since saying she supports it too much can imply a number of things, and this could easily come off as you taking a stance of don't go too far with your LGBT stuff in my cartoons, which in terms of activism, which I assume is what you're trying to do, is actively horrible, especially when talking about a marginalized minority like the LGBT community, which isn't helped by how vague the what the LGBT is stereotyped as comment you make. What do you even mean by that? The only thing I can assume with the context given is the simple reactionary stereotypes of SJWs are trying to force LGBT politics into the media. And even then, you don't show how Lily is doing that aside from one clip of Lily being miffed at Steven Universe trying to get past the TV censors forced on Sugar. A bit blunt, but nothing that comes off as overly aggressive. This entire section just drips of unfortunate implication that I really don't want to believe you hold.
I'll go more in depth with LGBT stuff next year. There's just too much for now.
I promise you, in 15 years, there will not be a channel named I Love Steven Universe a Lot. Once the show finally ended, nobody gave a shit anymore.
Alright, I'm back. What did I miss?
To be honest, I don't even know myself.
I see. Want a churro?
Sure, I could use a sweet after that randomness. Seriously, the heck was the point of those last few seconds?
Friendship is Magic finally ended last year. Not with a bang, but with a whimper.
Oh boy, do I love starting off the new decade with Louis not learning a goddamn thing. I think it's safe to say that Louis stopped reviewing MLP in 2017. That was the last year where she actually had good opinions on the show and actually was thorough with it.
Good opinion. Good... Nope, I covered the last entry. I'm leaving this to you. I'm getting a drink!
But I gave you a churro!
Which is exactly why I need one, so have fun covering this, Snowblade Master.
Don't call me that. Well then, when you say Lily had good opinions and was thorough with the show, don't you mean 2017 was the last year Lily had opinions you agreed with? Considering that in the MLP videos you've put onto your worst list, those videos are saying stuff that you either A, don't agree with, or B, don't interest you. So don't go acting like the arbiter of what good opinions are. You aren't a certified waifu ranker. I'm the certified waifu ranker.
Oh please, you're like Camilla and Kanzaki. You have absolutely no taste. We all know Makoto Nania is the best waifu.
Your opinion is biased because you're a squirrel Pokemon. Therefore, it doesn't count.
Like you're better, Mr. MILF Sister / Angel Maid Lover. It's also embarrassing.
There will be no waifu wars in this video, so shut up, you simps.
2018, 2019, 2020 just had her both repeating her same opinions from the past and also now just shit-talking real bronies. Basically, it's every single problem that I had with Lily Orchard so far from this list all put into one video. If you want my full thoughts on this, I did an over 2-hour critique on this video. It still holds up in my opinion.
So basically, this segment is a combination of the issues you brought up towards Lily from earlier in the list, alongside a plug for a 2-hour video. Why do you disappoint me?
Putting that video in the material playlist in there. Also, yeah, just got back with my drink.
Welcome back. You didn't miss anything other than me putting Emolga in that cage over there.
Stupid moron, you can't put one of Satan's minions in a cage. Your taste in waifus will always be bad.
Don't get used to it. He'll probably be out by the end of the video. Anyways, what's next?
Look at all the adorable little monsters getting jobs.
That's it, that's all I got.
Oh hey, it's that video we brought up from earlier.
Guess we don't need to bother putting it into the script. Oh right, Stargiant doesn't link sources. Never mind.
Nani? A Lily Orchard video from 2020 being actually good? What is wrong with you, Rebecca? The nerve!
I figured you were gonna say that, Dashi. The truth is, even a stopped clock can be right twice a day. But this video here does something simple on why it's good. It's funny and enjoyable. I like seeing people talk about the shows that they grew up with and seeing the paths that they have become. Ignoring the anime comment, I don't think Lily says anything bad in this one.
Are you sure about that? Cause in the same video you're talking about, she says the following.
The only praise it doesn't deserve is in how it handles Zuko's redemption arc, because Zuko doesn't actually get a redemption. Zuko is an abuse victim finding escape from his abuser, and as we've established before, victims of abuse do not need to change. Don't call Zuko's story a redemption arc 2020.
Which I shouldn't even need to explain why Lily saying abuse victims don't need to change is bad if you've seen Avatar The Last Airbender, which has Zuko destroying villages in search of the Avatar and betraying the still around family member who actually cared about him. Or if you want a really good adult show that shows why this saying is utterly stupid, BoJack Horseman. Considering the main character, despite having abusive parents, has a long list of fucked up things he's done and people and relationships he's destroyed because of his toxic behavior. TLDR, what drugs did you take to ignore the yikes in the room?
The bad ones actually seem bad, and the good shows seem like fun to me, like the Kim Possible one, which I did grew up with and it is awesome. Is it sad that I think this video is better than the entirety of Nikorama?
To be fair, it's not hard to be better than Nikorama.
So are we just gonna ignore the fact that this segment is the shows that seem bad actually look bad, while the shows that seem fun actually look fun? Like god, what video am I watching? A Stargiant video or Fate Stay Night?
Seriously though, there are a lot of pedophiles, like so many pedophiles.
Something, Star Wars. Something. You suck, Lily Orchard. Most humans don't even try any of these shitty ships. What the hell are you doing? What the fuck? No one tries these pedophile ships, you motherfucker. Something. Bland.
Should we say how this is a filler entry? Or should we talk about the spite towards Lily? Or maybe we should touch on the lack of elaboration.
Something, I'm too tired for this. Something, next segment, please.
What do you—
Sugar, you are such a fucking creep!
Something, I regret everything!
Well, if we were to judge this video after watching every single Steven Universe episode,
and if we were to factor in the 2 times I talked about this for my first 2 Lily videos,
and if we saw this from Lily's point of view and we really thought about this,
I can come to the conclusion about this review that everyone talked about as we both have no idea what to say about this one.
Okay, now you two aren't even trying anymore. Considering this segment is literally just, we have nothing to say. Considering we talked about this before in 2 other videos, you clowns don't even link in the goddamn description.
This isn't helped by the fact that this is number 2. Number freaking 2! Which looks extremely horrible on your end because when the number 10 entry has more elaboration on it than your number 2, there's a serious problem. God, can this list get any—
Bolt, I think you might need to see this considering there is something very wrong here.
Oh, what could it be?
Quack.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going on a rant key. But first—
Bolt?
Okay. This is a bit of a problem that's been plaguing the entire video, but it has become completely apparent now. So I'm going to say this as bluntly as humanly possible. This video structure is genuine cancer. So many entries either have little to no elaboration, or don't even last a minute, while others have you going on for a few minutes about petty crap, and just flat out filler. But here, we have 8 minutes of all the number 1 segments, and spend 6 of those minutes talking about the worst segment alone. Do you not see any problem? To put that into perspective, that's as long as number 10 to number 3 best. It's so apparent you had very little to say throughout almost every other video on this list. And if that's the case, why don't you just make a video on the number 1 worst segment alone? It wouldn't even need to be an hour. It could have just been a small rant going over your problems with it. There'd still be problems since we're still covering that section. It at least fit better as a small rant or a part of a small list, instead of an obviously long part of a disorganized countdown, which clearly had little to no planning as to how we were going to approach this. I'm fucking done with this. This has been the Firebolts and...
Hey, Bull, we're not even done with this video.
I'm still the best. Was it too much for you?
Nothing knocks it from the top spot, ever. I know people might say, I can't watch it now because of Louie and Josh's falling out. While I understand that, to me it doesn't change the actual video itself. It's funny and engaging. It's what a collaboration should be like. And I still find Louie to be the better person in this video, even when I first saw this back in 2014. And it influenced so many good decisions I have made in my life. Thank you for this.
Lack of elaboration aside, this isn't the worst entry in the world, but it could have been better.
Oh, just show the next entry. It can't get any worse than what we've seen so far.
This wasn't one of your best ideas, hon.
Oh, they're using Lucina Says as the number 1 transition clips.
Artist, Meltdown Story is number 1 blandest?
Welp, you broke him, Key. Don't worry. I'll have him ready before the blandest entry is over. Still blame you for all of this.
I find it hilarious how Wesley used to say that this was Louie's worst video, when in all reality it's just Louie babbling like an idiot for 15 minutes. But what is more interesting is 3 years later, when Louie shit-talked this lovely artist who did this really good fan art of Louie. Man, that's good, like, really good. But Louie said this was fat shaming, and she basically told the person to go fuck themselves. Actually, wait, she demanded an apology from that person.
I don't have time to label all of them in this video, but someone by the name of Star Giant Productions made a video trilogy highlighting much of the bad stuff Lily has done.
And Louie brushed this off as, well, people will just forget about it by next week. As someone that is an abused victims do not forget the shit that their abusers gave them. This caused Pastor Oppo, aka the artist, to cut Louie out of her life for how toxic Louie was and how Oppo is better now. Marie Akutsu does a better job explaining this than I could. And thank you for that shout out in your video for me.
I'm astonished. For the number 1 blandest Lily Orchard video, instead of you talking about the video in question, you decide to talk about another situation that Lily got into with someone who made fan art of her OC, where she flipped out over the proportions her OC was drawn in and yelled at them, which isn't compatible to Artist Meltdown Story, considering in that situation, Lily was actively antagonizing the artist in question due to them wanting Lily to credit her art, while here it's just Lily being a bitch. Now, I'm not saying what Lily did here wasn't bad, cause yeah, it's pretty yikes, but if you're gonna put a video here on the blandest list, at the very least talk about the video in question, instead of unimportant shit or how some stranger brought you up in a video of theirs.
I can't even dislike Louie's blandest video now. It's just laughably bad to me now, like it's so bad it's good, like The Room. For what it's worth, I highly doubt that I'll ever forget this video from Louie Orchard. Now, let's end 2020 with another Louie Orchard video that I'm never going to forget.
Okay, and he's better now. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to check on Imoga. Wait, where did he go?
Thanks, Holland. But anyways, let's talk about how bad this last part of the blandest segment is. First off, nice Mr. Enter plagiarism.
For better or worse, I doubt I'm going to forget Alan Gregory. Now, let's talk about another show that I'm never going to forget.
It's literally the exact same inflection and everything. It's honestly disappointing to see you sink to the same levels that Lily herself goes. But here we are. Second, so bad it's good doesn't equal bland. This is a bigger problem with this part of the list that I want to address for a while, but I think I can finally talk about it here. I'm convinced the blandest list had no criteria whatsoever, since you never define what categorizes as bland. So we get videos that are on here for what I can only assume are random reasons, which also leads to my next point. You really should not have made this a triple top 10, since combined with the 20-minute mark you were clearly aiming for, it utterly destroys every entry, since it leaves you with almost no time to elaborate on anything, since you have to briefly talk about 48 videos. Yes, I counted the ties. And if you want to talk about the best and worst Lily videos, talk about the best and worst Lily videos. This category did nothing but make this list worse. God, I hope this doesn't get any screw it, just play the next entry.
I'm I'm gonna find you and put a bullet in that inflated fucking head of yours.
Jesus Christ! Star Giant, I get having a unique sound for each entry, but could you have chosen something that sounds a lot less violent? Just saying, this sound doesn't make it sound like the worst. It makes it sound like you want to friggin' kill her. I know you don't want that, but god damn, that was not a good clip to use.
My number one choice for the worst Lily Orchard video of all time is the Disney Roundup.
Wait, hold on. I thought the Steven Universe's Garbage and Here's Why video would be number 1.
Oh, you mean the video you barely said anything about? This is why we think about the things we say before we go through with them. Otherwise, we end up screwing ourselves over in the future.
No, this video is the most vile review that I have ever seen.
How could this be anything worse than what we've seen so far?
Well, let's dive in. We need to first talk about Walt Disney because he is important to this segment. If you don't know, Walt Disney is the founder of Disney. While Walt didn't invent the medium of animation, that goes to either James Stewart Blackton or Emil Cole, Walt was at least the third person in existence to take animation as a medium. Winsor McCay was the first, and Winsor McCay inspired Walt Disney. Let me tell you some gambles that Disney himself did. While he made Snow White, he sold both his car and his fucking home to help fund the movie. Everyone in existence called him insane. He stayed up for hours and hours making this film for years. And because of that, he was very successful with his company, and he very influenced everyone there. Actually, even after Walt's death, we're still getting things that would be possible without him. The Warner Brothers and Warner Sisters, the ads from Ed, Edd n Eddy, all My Little Pony Friends Magic.
Oh my god, how long does this go for?
You stole my line!
I know we want more elaboration, but there's a difference between elaboration and giving pointless information. You could have easily shortened that to something along the lines of, Walt Disney is one of the most important people in the history of animation. While he wasn't the first person to discover the medium, he probably had the biggest influence on it, thanks to him constantly revolutionizing the industry. From him creating the first sound cartoon, to him pretty much creating the medium of animated films with Snow White, and he kept going no matter what people told him. Heck, his influence can still be felt today with stuff like Spirited Away, Into the Spider-Verse, and most 2010s animation. See that? I got across the same information you wanted to give in a fraction of the time. Needless information like this does nothing to help your argument, and only serves to make the video drag.
My baby!
Each of the things that I said about Walt Disney, they are things that Lily Orchard knows about, but she goes out of her way to shit-talk them. Instead of talking about the amazing things that Walt has done, she decides to just call him a fucking Nazi, and a fucking racist as well.
Yikes!
As well.
You know, Disney was long rumored to have been a Nazi sympathizer, and watching most of his older movies, I'm starting to see exactly why people got that impression. Disney movies and racism have historically gone together like bronies and child sex trafficking. Walt, what's wrong with you? I mean, I know you can't answer me because you're dead, but what's wrong with you?
You do know that Walt made propaganda cartoons about World War II, right? And hell, at the age of 17, he joined the army to help out America.
Well, yes, calling Walt a Nazi sympathizer is kind of a stretch. At least from the context you've told us, notice how Lily only mentioned the Nazi sympathizer part in one clip. And that was her response to the crows from Dumbo. And her main point was how the crows were racist caricatures, which leads to the whole racism thing, which, yeah! And it's perfectly fair to bring up with these movies specifically, since while yes, they were made in a different time, you should also keep in mind that these movies are still being watched to this day, and are often seen as classics, especially among families, and the racism in movies like Peter Pan or Dumbo could be major turnoffs to some people. And if I can bring up something, just because a person was influential doesn't mean they're perfect or even a good person. I mean, look at John Kay or John Lasseter, two Johns. Both were some of the most influential people in the animation industry, but were also awful people. The point I'm making is that just because someone is influential doesn't mean you can't mention when they do something bad, especially if their actions or biases affect their work, like the racist imagery in not just early Disney movies, but early animation in general.
But I'm guessing that good research on Walt was not good enough. You only wanted to copy off what Family Guy said about him.
Nice assumption there with nothing to back it up, Star Giant. What's next? Gonna detonate?
Shh! Don't spoil it. We'll get there when we get there.
Or how about just shit-talking all of Snow White?
I wouldn't say Snow White is aged poorly, as that would imply that it was ever actually any good. Maybe Disney should have spent less time pushing a heterosexual agenda and more time writing a story.
You know, I would say you have a point here, if it didn't come to my attention that you're taking these clips out of context. As with the first clip, Lily was talking about how Snow White didn't age well as a film, considering it birthed a lot of bad Disney movie tropes in her eyes.
I wouldn't say Snow White is aged poorly, as that would imply that it was ever actually any good. Snow White birthed many terrible Disney trends that took almost 100 years to shake off, and contains probably the second creepiest introduction for a love interest ever.
As for the second clip, this is even worse considering that in Lily's original video, she wasn't even being serious with this part, but instead was joking about how little chemistry Snow White and the prince had, and how YouTube critics would have reacted at the time to a prince being a princess.
Why does this story even end with a romance anyway? These two have like no chemistry. The romance is just shoehorned in for the sake of having it. Maybe Disney should have spent less time pushing a heterosexual agenda and more time writing a story. I'm joking, but if the prince was a princess, there would be about 150 YouTubers making the exact same argument with total sincerity.
It's one thing to not like someone, but it's another thing to take clips out of context in order to paint them out worse than they actually are.
Or a lot of films on this list that she gives poor reviews into, like Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, and Aladdin.
Anyway, I hate this movie because there aren't any gay princesses. Your enjoyment of Aladdin is going to be entirely based on how much you enjoy Robin Williams' stand-up comedy routine, and I, personally, do not. The idea that you should expect a guy to actually act like an adult seems to be anathema to straight people. And best of all, there's gay princesses.
You know these clips don't paint Lily out as a bad critic, considering they're just joke, personal take, extremely out of context clip that could be talking about anything, and finally more jokes.
Clearly the signs of a bad critic and not poor clipping.
It's not so much that I disagree with everything with Lily on this list, but even when I do agree with her, she comes off as pessimistic.
Oh no, she acted pessimistically. The horror. Like, not everyone shares your opinions, and being pessimistic about a film is not bad by itself. And you never mention how this is a problem in this case, aside from you just disagree with her, which is not a good argument. Fighting subjectivity with subjectivity is stupid, and as a critic, criticizing other critics, you need to stop using that tactic, since it's something I've seen not just in this video, but almost every other Lily video you've made.
Even her humor in this is shit. Haha, isn't Lily ending each Disney movie with gay princesses just the best joke ever?
What this movie really needs is gay princesses. Next time, just add some gay princesses. Something gay princesses. Where are my fucking gay princesses? That sums up the entire movie better than anything else I could think of to write. It's weird, I know. Okay, so Chicken Little, shit, I forgot to say gay princesses for Brother Bear. And maybe some gay princesses as well. None of this would have happened if you just gave people the gay princesses they always wanted. Just saying.
Quiet! Star Giant. Have you ever heard of a running gag before? You know, a joke that's repeated a number of times within a piece of media, and it's not like it's out of place either, considering that this is a series of videos looking at all of Disney's movies. And for each video, she only uses it once per roundup, and usually it's placed at the very end minus the Brother Bear segment, but that was done as a subversion to the joke. Like, honestly, I don't know how you can make this point any worse.
No, Kate, this is bullcom, you're going to jinx us!
Hey, Jerry Pete, can you explain to Lily Orchard what exactly she did wrong here?
Rule of 3, Josh. Rule of 3.
What happened to Jerry Pete? Because I miss him.
Oh, spoke too soon.
Wow! Like, wow! I honestly don't know what to say here. Well, first I'll start with the minor point, being that Lily was making a joke about how comedy should be structured in a single video. While here, the gay princesses thing is more similar to the My Leg gag from SpongeBob, being a running gag that's usually used once per episode. But that's not the main thing wrong here. Star Giant, what were you thinking? Honest to God, what were you thinking? Did you not see the problem with using Lily's dead name and then claiming they used to be cool when they went by that dead name? Last time I checked, dead naming is one of the most transphobic things you could do. And it's just a horrible thing to do in general, as that simple action can have a lot of horrible effects on a trans person's mental health. As a trans person yourself, you should understand this, and why doing this was a horrible idea. I honestly God hope this was just a stupid slip-up, because I really don't want to assume the worst, because this just comes across as A, very condescending, B, horribly transphobic, and C, extremely spiteful towards your target. And to anyone else watching, I advise you, please, do not do this.
So post-key here, during the production of this video, a friend of mine, A363MTR, brought up that in one of Star Giant's videos, she brings up how she didn't want to make the video, but did so on behalf of her former best friend, who was the original co-op partner of the video, whose vendetta against Lily bled into the script, i.e. the dead naming and insults.
Then that Christmas one was a scrap video that was supposed to be with my former best friend Lena, who I cut out of my life last month. And I didn't want to throw away all that work for nothing. So I had Dashi replace Lena essentially. Lena was an obsessive bitch to me. She would always try to make me have these hate moments with people. Like, even though I came up with the name Cunty Orchard for how Louis said about Cunty Purple or Star Glimmer, I didn't want to call Louis Orchard Cunty Orchard anymore, but yet Lena consistently said, keep calling her Cunty Orchard. I hate calling her that. I'm just calling her Louis. That's her name. Not Jerry, not Cunty, it's Lily. Get that fucking right.
Now with this information in mind, it has led me and my partner to realize an entirely different problem. That being, for all this talk Star Giant did in her video discussing how she didn't want to make this video, but did so because of her ex-friend, alongside how she wasn't feeling comfortable with all the spite her ex-friend was throwing at Lily, she still made the video because despite cutting that ex-friend out of her life, she still kept in all of the spite her ex-friend put into the script, which tells us that Star Giant is not the best when it comes to revising projects, considering she left all of the following into the final project. Post point done.
I thought we heard the worst of Lily Orchard when she shit talk characters that I like, or go against good people that are really nice, or an episode of MLP on pedophilia, but I was dead wrong. And can we talk about how Louis skipped a bunch of the Disney canon films? If you're gonna do this whole project, do the whole project. And when you do, don't say things like Buck Cluck is a good father. Just... ugh.
Good mention goes to the relationship between Chicken Little and his father, namely due to the fact that his father actually apologizes to
You know how my editor, Doggy, made a video with some other people on Enter's Nicorama? I really wanted to do something similar for Louis' Disney project, because that's how bad it is, but it's not fucking worth it at this rate. Especially when Louis believes that Beauty and the Beast promotes fucking abuse.
Then why didn't you play a clip from there earlier when you were talking about her being a bad Oh, forget it. This video is almost over. Why am I complaining at this point?
Why? I do this because I hate you and I want you to suffer.
At least when it comes to other people that Louis has shit talked like Josh and Rebecca, they can defend themselves. Walt can't because he's dead. You know, Louis, Walt could have possibly influenced your love life with Michaela.
I beg your pardon! You do not just walk in and bring up someone that Lily may or may not be dating, saying Walt Disney's films would have helped her love life. Since that is an incredibly gross thing to do, considering this has nothing to do with Lily's Disney Roundup. And for what? Cause Lily is taking jabs at Walt Disney? Fuck that noise! And from there, there's nothing that either me and Bull can add, but we do want to bring this to light.
A life lesson for Lily and Valley Orchard. When you have a massive audience that does whatever you say, you cannot get information on important things wrong. You cannot be this fucking lazy with your research. You have no right to be this disgusting of a human being. I know that you are better than this, you cunt.
We like to call this clip irony.mp4. And with that, the video is over. Which one of us should do final thoughts first?
You're talking to someone who rarely does final thoughts nowadays, so... you do that while I eat whatever is in your fridge.
Oh, for the love of God, I just got the vanilla out of here not long ago. So, my final thoughts. This video is not only the worst video I've covered thus far, it's also one of the worst videos I've ever seen. Where do I even begin? I know. How about the collaboration? And by that I mean, what collaboration? Dashi added almost nothing to this video, and the few things they did say were either bad points or were so minor it could have been cut. So my first piece of advice to both of you is to collaborate more. Adding some funny interjections, offering points that the other didn't catch, strengthening the other's points. Anything! Dashi added so little to this video that she might as well not even have existed here. But that's only the tip of the iceberg with my problems with this video. Now let's talk about the script, and God, this was horrible. So many instances where you literally said nothing about the video. Enough ties to fill a Watch Mojo honorable mentions list. Whack ordering across the board to where I still wonder why most of the worst list is above number 10. And so little elaboration, it hurts. For this piece of advice, I'd recommend questioning yourself more when making a script. Ask yourself questions like, did I elaborate enough? Or should this be higher on the list? I know it sounds minor, but it can help you a ton during the scripting process. I'd also recommend getting more people to check the script, since this genuinely feels like a first draft. And finally, we have my biggest problem towards not just this video, but your Lily series in general. The tone. For as much as you get onto Lily for being a bad person, you honestly treat her like garbage throughout this entire video. Constantly calling her cunty, name calling her, or just genuinely saying crap that just comes off as wrong. And that leads to my final piece of advice. Stop covering Lily, both from the intro and the entire video. It's clear to me that you're tired of covering her, and you clearly have some sort of vendetta against her. I'm not saying that you can't cover someone you don't like, but when you're so blinded by bias to where it affects your point, that's where you should probably stop covering them. And with that, commentary finished. This has been the Firebolt and...
Hold it!
Oh dear lord, I should have known this would happen. What's going on?
We heard from an Emolga that a murderer is hiding in your house.
Wait a minute, I thought Emolga was in the cave! Looks like lockpicking is a part of this little rat's special set of skills.
Y'all just need to hand over that there criminal and the rest of you will be let off scot-free, baby.
Oh, what a pleasure. I know who the murderer is. It's...
Lockster!
Wait,
what? How did he even get in my house?
He came in through the window. Anyways, arrest this murderer, coppers!
Wait, how did I get here? Wait, what?
Okay, Mr. Luxter, we will be interrogating you over the death of Mr. Boy.
This always happens to me. Every single time I just mind my own business, I just get teleported in somewhere and get framed for murder.
Save it for the judge.
It's good to see justice in play.
Of course, Key. Though, would you mind looking behind for a sec?
Sure. What do you want me to look at? How did...
Sayonara, simp!
I'm not a simp, you maid fucker!
Now that is simply untrue. If anyone here fits the definition of a simp, it would be a simpleton like you.
Okay, now throwing Gabe with me is just adding salt to the wound.
Two birds with one stone.
For the love of God, please tell me that's the last annoyance we're going to have to deal with before we go.
Aside from me, should be the last one.
Thank God.
So are we ready now?
We're all prepared, so I'd say we're ready to go.
Phew. Now let's go!